Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I've been saying July instead of August. I guess my months get mixed up here, but it's August 28th. So, everybody, I love you here, and we're going to have a special guest today. We're going to have a special guest here. Joy Bedell is going to be with us here, and I want to bring up Joy here 1 second here. Here comes Joy.
Hello. Oh,
She's coming.
hello, everyone. So glad to be here with you, John.
Yeah, just a second here. You're coming. There you are.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Joy. We
That's
finally
okay.
got you up there. We had you down in the staging area. I don't know if the audio came through or not on that. Maybe it did. It doesn't matter. You were a good kid. Uh, so we're welcoming Joy Bedell, and she's going to be talking. I've known Joy and her husband. I'll just give a little background. I've
Sure.
known Joy and her husband probably 25 years, maybe 30. It's getting a long time now.
Yes.
And they've worked with youth, and it's been very special for them. Youth has always been special. I think they actually met doing puppetry, right? Isn't that correct,
Yes.
Joy?
Yes, we did.
So
We did it.
they've loved kids, and they later on they had a foster daughter, and then they adopted her, and then now they
Yep.
have a daughter with a grandson. So they're really blessed. But they've always had love for children. So that's what we're going to be talking about, and I'm going to give a little more here. Joy, it's good to see you.
So good
And
to be here. Thank you for
yeah,
having me, John.
yeah, this is Joy Bedell, and she's going to be sharing about the global need for children because of COVID-19. Now, Joy, you and your husband, I know that's very good. You read papers. You're
I
reading
do.
the newspaper early August. You told me just a while ago, and found this story in the Chicago Tribune that really made you think. I know a lot of things make us think, and maybe that's why some people don't read the Bible as much either, because it makes them think. There's a study on that the more
Interesting.
Bible reading you read, Joy, the more I don't want to use the word liberal,
Yeah.
but I'll
The
use the
more.
word progressive or thinking about social matters more. The
Oh,
more you read, it's actually done by the Southern Baptists too. So the more you read, the more you learn. And Joy and her husband were learning, and this was a Sunday Tribune a few weeks ago,
August 2nd. Yes.
August 2nd, and they got to know about. I want to bring up this. It doesn't. This is just. I just got this for fun here, but I think that
Oh,
was the name of the article. It might have a
definitely.
different
That's
name.
it. Yes.
Yeah,
It's
children
Children Starved
starved
for
for
Help.
help,
Yes.
and this is also an AP story, and I'm going to be using that later here. Uh, so, Joy, good to see you, and wow, we've been talking about this last few days. This new venture that you're doing. Explain a little about the venture, and I'll put some, and then we'll go down about the particulars. Maybe I want you to just say about
Maybe
the venture.
about how the article caught our
Yeah,
attention.
whatever you want to go there. That's
Okay.
fine.
Well, yes, as John mentioned, we usually do. My husband and I both read the newspaper on Sundays, and it's coronavirus time, and we are doing church via Zoom, and we had blueberry pancakes. It was a wonderful,
Oh
relaxing
man, thanks. Blueberry
Sunday.
pancakes.
Yes.
Oh man. Oh,
When
oh.
we opened the this article, the Trib, and the first thing that you're struck with is this picture of this little girl. And her name is Habue. And when I pray for her, I use that name. It's Habue. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But she looks like a little doll on her mom's lap. And of course, we've all seen pictures of starving children throughout the years. And of course, it captures our hearts and make it certainly, the picture really made me read further, and it opened my eyes to how the coronavirus is impacting already poverty ravaged countries around the world.
You
And
think that's the picture there,
I think
Joy?
that, yes, I think that is Habue. And she is experiencing something called wasting, which is something I learned from the article, which because of her malnutrition, her arms get spindly and her stomach is distended. It has permanent damage, brain damage, and physical development and developmental problems. And they're trying to, and once someone gets to be so malnourished as Habui is, it's very difficult to make that nutrition even be accepted by her body. So when we learned those things, and then the article went on to talk about she lives in Burkina Faso, which is a country in Africa. It's a landlocked country in like central Western Africa.
Right.
And they're really experiencing a lot of poverty. It talked about Yemen. It talked about even Latin American countries, Venezuela. And that
Oh,
is
Venezuela. They've had some big.
particularly ravaged.
Yeah, but I guess it was. But I think that article said some people were coming back to Venezuela from the other countries because they weren't in
Yes.
good shape, which is really
Yes.
strange. Because just sidebar, we've had at Kiwanis and other times I've had people from Venezuela or background, and that country is in bad shape economically, and the stores are just horrible. And so to go back to Venezuela, it's like it must be really bad.
Well, the migrant workers, there's just such a they've stopped any movement. So migrant workers are not getting the jobs. Markets are closed down. So even if you are like the story talks about one particular father who he raises onions, and
oh yeah, I remember reading that. Yeah,
and he couldn't. His family can't live off of the onions, but the market is closed down, so he can't sell the onions. So they have no income at all. So, and then even everything has been shut down. And in Venezuela, because of the migrant worker not being able to move or in the country, that's why everything is falling apart economically, and therefore affecting this ravage of malnutrition.
Yeah, I think it was like 100-pound bag of onions was hardly get the guy any money, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was kind of a good year. If I look at the article, that was how it in a good year. And this year, I don't think the market's even open. So I think another thing that he was selling was manure or whatever, and everything is shut down. And that is causing the problem. 10,000 children are going to die per month, and that's in addition to those who had already been hit by malnutrition. So this is an increase for this year. 128,000 more kids are going to die in these ravaged countries.
Yeah, this is extra. Now, this number we have up on the screen here about it's 6.7 million over last year, and I guess probably going to be in higher than that to a total of 47. That's just on the malnourished side.
Yes, that's kids that are experiencing wasting.
Oh, wasting. Now, you give us a little
Right.
more about wasting. You've read that in the article and know a little bit. Well, explain that a little.
So wasting is a byproduct of malnutrition that causes when an infant experiences malnutrition, their development and their growth pattern is changed. So they get spindly limbs, so their legs and their arms are long and thin, and their bellies are distended. And long term, they experience a lot of developmental delays, both educationally, physically. So a lot of long-term effects from this wasting. And that's what this number here refers to. It's up 7%, I believe, from last year.
Okay. Now
But
here, yeah, it's 6.7 million we have here on the screen. I'm going to bring up another statistic here. This is about the country we were talking about earlier in Burkina Faso. Yeah, for example, 1 in 5 young children is chronically malnourished there.
yes, right, and causing that wasting. It's also called stunting, because it causes permanent damage to the physical and cognitive development of the infants. So
Yeah, and
so
here,
then, and that so it's I guess my point is that it's long range problems. It's
right,
going to,
right.
it's going to affect not only their lives now, but educationally and medically. It's going to have major impacts on these children.
Right, and here's part of that story. It's at the AP site. I think it's at the other site too. This is a breakdown. I'm going to put myself down here. Maybe I can, so I can see it a little better, and maybe we can put you down too, Joy.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to make sure the audio is still on here, though. This is the big one here. Okay, I think it should be still on, and we'll remove that little thing there. So this is a breakdown of some of the countries that are going to experience more, well, malnourishment, and it's in the millions. I don't know if you can see it on your TV screen or your screens wherever you are, but we have Yemen at the top, and
Yes.
I think that's
And
going to be over 15 million. They expect here by January of this coming year.
right. And in Yemen, they had been seeing a huge drop in childhood malnutrition, but now it's back up. It's regressed. Since 1980, there has been a big surge. There had been help, but now all of that progress is regressing. Most of these countries are in the eastern part of Africa, and so what we have done is we kind of thought, okay, what can we do? Right? We read this article, we saw the need, we were convinced there's a need there, and you can see from this graph, it's dire. I think the World Food Organization is calling for $2.4 billion just to help get kids the food that they need and families. So we decided, so John and I, my husband and I, we had read this and we both independently kind of came up with like, what can we do? And we knew we had to do something. We had to somehow give. But then we were like, well, I just heard somebody collect, shoes for soldiers or something. Like, why couldn't we have our friends and family get aware of this great need and maybe see if the dollars that we can give together could maybe make a larger impact? So we know that everybody probably supports a child through World Vision or Compassion. But this was such a chronic need that we decided that we would call World Vision and see what we could do. And they directed us to their My Cause, like a fundraising page. And so John and I wrote this story about how we had been impacted by this article, and the article is linked on there. And then it also gives you a means to donate to this cause. And it's under the Eastern Africa Hunger Relief project that World Vision has. And the beauty of World Vision is that $1 is multiplied by 5. So, let's say you give $100, you're actually giving $500 worth of food. So it's really an amazing organization and such a great need.
I'm going to put up the link here to your site.
Okay.
If we can get it up here. Now, this is the World Vision site where Joy and John have their campaign here, and it's a really worthy campaign. And you don't have to have a lot of dollars in there, but I did a little, and I know others can do a little. And so it's at mycause.worldvision.org and then a /campaign/nourish. So that's how you can connect with this outreach that they're doing for well, it's for right now. This is going for Africa, but basically, you help Africa, you're helping the other countries too, because then World Vision can put their resources in the other countries. I mean, that's just I think they do that, shift it around where the needs are. But right now, this money is going to go to Eastern Africa, like Southern Sudan, Yemen, and
Yes.
these other countries. I know.
Ethiopia, most of those countries that
Oh,
were listed
Ethiopia,
there.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's see what we can do here. Look at their website. I got it. We got it on screen there. So let's kick it up here, everybody. You want to give
Yes.
us a little more about what you're doing there?
Well, just there's so much in scriptures about helping the poor. We know that to whom much is given, much will be required. And when I saw this, and my heart was like, God, why? Why does Habue have no food and I have an abundance of food? It just doesn't make sense. And so you can say, okay, yeah, that's evangelical greed or guilt or whatever. But I think our guilt sometimes gives us a springboard to do something. And I feel like that's what God is calling us to do. That's God's heart for us to share. That's why we have been blessed. And, not that we can, and I know we hear this over and over again, but not that we can just get more and more, but we have a burden and we need to do something. And so, and then not only that, but then when we give to the poor, we get a blessing. So not only, are we helping someone, but when you give, you get so much more. And God's word is full of blessings for those who help the poor. So please join us in our campaign. I would love to have us feed thousands of children.
Yeah, Joy, this is their goal on this campaign. It's an ambitious goal, but
It's an ambitious goal.
I think it's reasonable too, though. It's
a very ambitious
$25,000. They're at the beginning stages. They've had some seed money there, and it's good seed money. And but they need your help, and we're going to spread this little video around, show it to everybody. This is helping children around the world. They say, well, I know an argument that's going to be used, Joy. Why don't we help our own first?
Right. Exactly.
You want to give us a little rebuttal on that? I'll have one too, but you can give us a little rebuttal on that one.
Well, I hear you. I mean, I understand there are people in our community that are struggling. They've lost their jobs, and I can also give to them too, and I can help my own family.
Right.
But this is over and above maybe for children that are in dire need. And Jesus said, when you feed someone who's hungry, you're doing it to him. And, I think we can all dig a little deeper to help these people at home, people that we know, maybe even us, as we're rebudgeting and things, and still have some more to give. It doesn't have to be much, but just so that we are showing our heart.
Right. I think you're also stressing something here that sometimes is forgotten. I'll speak to as a Christian in the Christian church, that the Christian church is broad. And it's just not right here in our country.
Right.
Our Christian brothers and sisters are all around the world. And we got to think globally. And
Amen.
and that reflects on how we think about others in our country too. We got to think about the immigrant, those who are different color of our skins. This is part of that thinking too, that we are part of God's, made in God's image, and we're going to help those around the world. Now, like you said, Joy, we whatever we can give would be helpful here. And I know there's World Vision works with Christian groups, and it's a Christian organization. I think it's the largest Protestant relief group in maybe the world. I mean, it's pretty big, and it was started by a man. Uh, yeah, it was Bill Price. It was Bill Price or Bob Price. Bob Price, after the Korean War, wanted to help out orphans in Korea, and that's how he got going on helping. And since then, we know where World Vision has been everywhere. It does help in the United States too. So
Yes, and I like its transparency. I mean, it shows you where your dollar goes, and it's very transparent and not very administrative heavy. They do give much. They give most of what they collect.
right, it
So
said that
that's
on their website, shows that right below where you give on this. I think it was 7 or 8% for administrative. Which is pretty. That's low, and we're talking about administrative all around the world here, just not in.
exactly.
I mean, they got to administer the monies in these countries too, and make sure that it's going to the right sources. And they're always watching that, and they have. I mean, they have a lot of workers all over the world,
They do.
And these countries need your help. We know about Yemen, and it's had a civil war.
Yes.
And they've had that country's on a famine list too. I think they're real close to being on a famine. And Southern Sudan, I have friends there, and I have good friends that were lost boys of Sudan. That country needs your help. Many of the Southern Sudan are Christian, and Sudan is more a Muslim country, but Southern Sudan is a little more on the Christian side, probably Anglican, but it's a real interesting place, and they need your help. And Joy's just trying to, and John are just trying to help raise some money. Let's see if we can get that 25,000. Let's get it by Thanksgiving, so we can have a big Thanksgiving celebration on that.
I love it.
Let's see if we can do by Thanksgiving, and we won't overdo that Thanksgiving celebration, because we know God wants us to be, we're Presbyterian, frugal maybe sometimes, but you get what I mean. We're going to have a celebration. We can go out to Steak and Shake or whatever it is,
or I'll just cook a good Thanksgiving dinner.
Or we can just have our own button food on the grill. Yes. But and have some nice soft drinks. But we're going to celebrate hopefully by Thanksgiving maybe, and we got to raise some more money. So
yes, we do. So and I do want to encourage people to just pass it around. You can pass this video around. You can just share our webpage you can tweet it. You can put it on Facebook. You can.
Yeah, we're going to do more of that, Joy. We're going to Facebook.
Okay, good.
I want to chastise Joy on one thing. She's got to get on Facebook.
I know I'm not on Facebook.
We're going to have to get her on Facebook so she can help push this around. I'll push it around though.
Okay. But we'll leave it to you. You're the guru.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Thank you so much.
We'll work on that, pushing this around in this video also. I'm going to put back up. I get carried away here. But the donate. Now let's get the donate site again. This is where you got to go, folks. mycause.worldvision.org campaign nourish. This is going to help those young ones that need help there in Africa. That's where we're thinking right now. Of course, it's all over the world. You can donate other ways too for that, but right now we're just doing that, and I think that's appropriate. And we're thinking about that. And Joy and John Bedell have been really pushing this, and I appreciate them Joy, any wrap up you want to wrap up here with?
No, I just want to say thank you to everyone for taking the time to listen, and hopefully, we're praying for this campaign and praying for the people who are ravaged, and together, I think we can make a difference with God's help. So thank you so much. Thank you, John.
Yeah, well, just stay with us there a moment, Joy. We got that up there. I just thank Joy again for being with us, and her husband John, and we've been good friends for a long time. And I pray that this campaign can really go forward. And thank you, Joy. And one more thing here, I'm just going to say, Monday we're going to have a special guest. Hopefully, I think it's going to work out. Robin Sturkle, UYM program director for that youth, and tell them about what's happening there with that COVID situation. I know that's very difficult. So, and if you got any time and need a COVID-19, my mind went blank. COVID-19 test. The VNA is offering them, and that's 630-892-4355. That's for an appointment COVID-19 test. Well, Joy, I just thank you for being with us here again. I got to put that thank you up again because I just thank you for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I don't have a banner to put on, but thank you very much for your efforts and for your heart.
So
for the
now
world.
we're going to go through the last stage here. It's God bless all you out there, and remember this campaign to help out those hurting children. Just remember that. So God bless now, and bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.